everyone, Russ Stevens, co-founder of the Association of Professional Builders here. Today on this live session, we're going to be talking about how you can get new work quickly. Now, as I go through this, I would invite you to post any questions you do have in this thread, and if you do it quickly, I'll get them answered live. If not, we'll get them answered later on. But yeah, feel free to post any questions you might have about getting new work quickly. Now, getting new work fast, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be taking action today and signing a contract tomorrow or even next week. But the thing to remember is, sales in this industry, as you know, they take time, and it really doesn't matter what strategy you put in place. It's very, very rare that you can sign a contract immediately. So we need to use this in context, when it comes to getting new work fast. Now, the ideal structure is that we are attracting people very, very early in the buyer's journey. And that means we use content marketing strategy. We get them at the design stage. That is the best. It is the most profitable way to bring clients on board. However, sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where that is simply not possible, because that whole buyer's journey, that can take 6 to 12 months sometimes. So it's the best strategy to be working toward. However, there are instances where we need a quick fix. So if you find yourself in that situation, that is exactly what this live session today is all about. Now, if we remember back now, pre-COVID, all that's happening now is we're back to pre-COVID levels. During the COVID boom, there were leads pouring in for builders every day. And people didn't have objections either. The biggest challenge for consumers was finding a builder that could start quickly. So you found people reaching out to you. They were keen to sign contracts. Price wasn't even a big issue, because there was so much cheap money flying around. Now, with the quantitative easing that governments around the world are doing, they're taking cash back out of the economy, and that is why everyone is now feeling things a little bit tighter. And even those that do have money, they're obviously being a little bit more cautious with it. So we've gone from this massive boom back to reality, back to normality, really. So it's not a case that things are exceptionally tough at the moment. It's kind of the way things have always been for the builders that don't have a mature marketing strategy and a documented sales process in place. The reality is, those building companies that have always been investing 3% of their revenue back into advertising and revenue. And if you're not doing that, you might want to just calculate exactly what 3% of your annual revenue is, because it might shock you. But that's the key metric. Those guys are still smashing it. We work with over 800 building companies around the world, so we get good insights into the data, and as well with our annual State of the Residential Construction Industry report, where we gather data from another 2,000 building companies. We've got great insights into seeing who's doing well, who maybe isn't, and the reasons why they're doing well, because of all the data we collect. So we know that is a key metric, the 3% being reinvested. And a reason why some of the most professional building companies are still booked out 12 to 18 months in advance with high margin contracts. But like I say, if you don't have that in place, if you don't have a good marketing strategy in place, you don't have a documented sales process in place, putting that in place, maybe you can't afford to wait 6 to 12 months for those contracts to flow through. So that's what this session is all about, because the reality is, in a building company or in any business really, you've got to have the sales flowing through. You've got to have the cash flow, because if you run out of cash, your business is history. So a few tips for you that will, I'm just going to say might, but in all honesty, they will, because they've all been tested and proven to work. So there's not really a question mark over them. We've actually got a action plan for our members, a course they can go through, which documents all these strategies out in a lot of detail. And we know from the guys that have actually implemented them, they work. They're astonished at how quick and effective they are. But again, I do just want to emphasize, this is not an ideal long-term solution. It's a quick fix in order to get the strongest margins. And by that, we're talking about marking up new construction by 33.3% plus, marking up renovation work by 55% plus. So in order to get to those margins, quick fixes generally, they'll get you close, but they're not going to get you to those level of margins. For that, you've got to have a proper strategy. So I just want to manage your expectations in that respect. This is not an ongoing strategy. It's something to use if you need new work fast. So the first one I want to share with you that has worked extraordinarily well for builders is what we call the 10 by 10 by 10 strategy. And this works extremely well, especially for guys that are doing knockdown rebuilds. So, if you're in or around the city and you've got a lot of knockdown rebuild work going on, that works. Guys doing renovations as well works extraordinarily well for those guys. And to make this 10 by 10 by 10 strategy work, you need to create a compelling offer. And then door knock. That is it's that simple. And you go 10 to the left of when you got a job, you go 10 to the left, you go 10 to the right, and you go 10 on the other side of the road, and you'll deliver that compelling offer. But you're not just going to knock on their door and pitch them with a sale, because that's never going to work. It's an opportunity to knock on the door, like, hey guys, we're going to be doing some work, for Mr. Jones in number 29. We appreciate that you're probably going to hate us for the time this job's going on. However, I do want to assure you that if you have any issues at all, here's my personal card. Please feel free to reach out to me. You're probably thinking, why would I do that? But the truth is that if you've got a problem neighbor, and they do exist, they're going to track you down anyway and make your life hell. So it's not a case of you're encouraging that behavior. It's going to come anyway. But you then want to address the conversations going on in their head. Is my driveway going to be blocked? I want to assure you that our policy is, all of our sub-trades and our team will do their utmost to ensure that no driveways are blocked. We do have a company policy of no loud music on site, because we don't want to be upsetting. We appreciate we're in a residential area. So all these things, just think about the kind of things that might come up in terms of complaints. Knock them over at the beginning, because then you'll change the relationship. And this strategy is threefold, actually. I was going to say twofold, but it's actually threefold, because first of all, you're building a relationship with the neighbors. And we all know that, it only takes one, but they can make a builder's life hell. So if you can get on the front foot and try to manage that relationship proactively, it could make your life a lot easier. A lot of instances we know, it won't make one bit of difference, but it could make your life a lot easier. The second thing is that especially if it's renovation work, if they're thinking of having renovations done, the fact that you've now shown them that you're working for a neighbor, someone like across the road or in the same street, that is social proof. So they're going to maybe start a conversation about some work that they need doing, or they're going to be speaking to their friends and family and say, the strangest thing happened. I had a knock on the door from a builder that's doing some work over the road, and what a fantastic company. I've never experienced anything like it. So it's going to be a conversation starter, which then could lead, because maybe they are looking for a builder either now or in the next few months. So that's the kind of opportunity. But to ensure that you maximize the opportunity, obviously you want to give out a business card when you do this, but if you've got a compelling offer as well, you can support that with, and in case you were looking, maybe like a knockdown rebuild, that might be That might be a little bit more difficult because yeah, if you're thinking of like knocking this knocking this thing down and starting afresh, some people might find that insulting. So yeah, a bit easier with renovations, but yeah, obviously we've got to be careful how we frame that up, because we might be talking about someone's pride and joy. But the thing is, this shouldn't just be a get work fast strategy. Really, this should be part of an ongoing strategy. And like I say, especially if you're doing knockdown rebuilds or renovations. Obviously, if you're building new homes on new estates, this isn't going to work for you. But it is an incredibly powerful strategy. Another strategy you could use is the partner strategy. So again, this could help you to access people that are ready to move forward quickly. You can use network groups for this. And the thing to remember is referrals are gold, because they do shortcut the trust process. When you use paid advertising to attract cold leads, there is a much longer period, yeah, where you've got to build up trust from scratch. But referrals do help you compress that period quite considerably. So yeah, that is a real plus, is that referrals are gold. The downside of network groups in particular is that they're just too time consuming as an ongoing strategy. So good for a short-term fix, a quick shot in the arm. If you find yourself, you've got some what you thought were dead certs, suddenly being cancelled, then you can obviously, jump in with a strategy like this, commit a bit of time. But as an ongoing strategy for the owner of a building company to be attending these network groups on an ongoing basis, I think there's better ways you can utilize your time once you get everything else firing. Another partner strategy is architects and building designers. Again, the positives here is that you're actually getting jobs that are ready to go because they've been designed, and they're looking for builders who can quote, and then they're going to get started. So that's the pro. But the con is that you're just a commodity. So because they've done all the design with the architect or the building designer, and now they're just looking for a builder to quote a price, and by that, obviously, they're looking for the builder that's going to quote the lowest price. So you're in a race to the bottom. Not ideal at all. But again, sometimes if we need cash flow to keep the revenue going so we can cover our fixed expenses comfortably, it could be an option. But again, not a long-term strategy. Real estate as well is another one, but again, it's probably more of a long-term strategy than a get work fast strategy. But real estate agents are obviously in touch with people that have just moved in and need a renovation done. So, you can get lucky in that respect. But another part of that strategy is where it's land being purchased, and then they're going to need a builder. And that's obviously a longer term strategy, because, you've got the whole design process to go through. So, use that one with caution. Friends and family, that could be another quick win as well. When you need new work quickly, then you got to utilize everything at your disposal. So go out to friends and family. Hey, we've had like a couple of jobs fall over, and so we've got some space on our schedule. So if anyone is looking for re-emphasize the benefits, your USP, what makes you different, then we've got a unique opportunity. Normally, our wait list, we are booked out for 12 to 18 months, so this is a unique opportunity to get started quickly. So, kind of bring that scarcity into it. So go out to the network, friends, family, professional associates as well. And again, because it's a recommendation, it's easier to win. Certainly in terms of friends and family, the downside is that people expect mates rates. So you got to be very careful how you manage that. You can't be, especially if it is family looking for you to do work, you can't be discounting your work. You've got to Use things like the pricing for profit calculator to ensure that at the very minimum, your fixed expenses are covered. And typically that means you've got to have a 15% margin, which is, I know what's that, 17, 18% markup just to break even. So yeah, be very careful when pricing jobs for friends and family that you don't add on a nominal amount, thinking you're covering your expenses, because you won't be. You're taking up capacity. Yeah, just be very, very careful. Another strategy is targeted prospecting. So you, as a business owner, you should have a CRM system with all your previous, all your contacts on it, all your previous inquiries. If you're not doing that, you've probably got a list somewhere. Buy a CRM. They're literally, they cost pennies these days. And for what they do for your business, no business can afford to be without a CRM system. And if you desperately need new work quickly and you haven't got a CRM, well, there's a clue. That's probably one of the reasons why you need work quickly. So go into your CRM or go into your list if you've got like a manual list somewhere, and basically mine your database. You've got to email them with value, and then make an ask. You can't just go out to your database who haven't heard from you for 6 months or longer and say, hey, do you want to build a home or do you need a renovation? No, you've got to re-engage them by adding value first. So you should be doing this all the time anyway. You should be emailing your database at least once a week. Otherwise, they forget about you. So if you've not been doing that, the first time you do re-engage with the database, you're going to get a lot of unsubscribes, complaints, etc. That is fine. You might be getting a year's worth of unsubscribes coming through in one go, which can be a bit painful. Not particularly good for your reputation with your service provider. However, you've got to re-engage. So you've got to do that by leading with value, because that will reduce the amount of unsubscribes, or it will reduce the amount of complaints. So give them good, actionable advice. Good, actionable advice. Good, actionable advice. And then, hey, by the way, maybe you got a small ask, if you'd like to, if you're thinking about designing a new home, or maybe if you are like a little bit more desperate, if you've got plans that need pricing, let's jump on a call, a small ask. Also, don't just email them, call your database as well. And it's ideal if you can segment your database based on data. So again, this is where having a CRM is so important, because it allows you to target the best ones first. So you're going to have different data points, and dependent on the data you're collecting and how much you got, you can segment and you can focus on the best opportunities first. And the other one, don't forget to SMS your database as well. So call, email, SMS, 3 channels. Really important, because especially in this day and age, people don't always respond to a phone call, especially if they don't know the number. They ignore emails. So you've got to use all 3. Different people respond to different channels. The benefit of targeted prospect is you will uncover some hot opportunities, people that are ready to move very, very quickly. So it's not one to be missed out on, and it really does give you an opportunity to reactivate old leads that maybe they weren't ready to move forward when they inquired originally, or you spoke to them originally. You got them a little bit early. As you follow this process, you'll find that they'll say things like, oh man, that is weird, I was just thinking about you, or I was just thinking about getting started on this design, or getting a builder to quote these plans. Again, I've got to emphasize, quoting other people's plans is not where you want to be, but in this context, it's something to consider. What I'd also say is, when you are calling them, make sure you use a script. You don't have to sound like a robot, start saying it word for word, but you need a repeatable script that you can follow. You're going to go off script and build rapport, etc., but you've got to have a structure. You've got to have a purpose for the call. You've got to have a clear outcome that you're targeting. And, you'll refine it with a bit of practice, but work off a script. So important. and and make sure you do follow a process. Everything you do should be systematic and repeatable, because this is how we pass it off then for other people. We, especially if it's new, you develop it, you test it, and then you've got the working model, you pass it on for someone else to do, and you focus your time on something new. So that's really, really important. And then once you've done this, really targeted prospecting, that should be done every 90 days. Again, a lot of these things, they might pull work in fast, but just because you got the work in, you don't want to stop. The key in this industry is to have more opportunity, more demand for your services than you can supply. That means you're saying no to people. When you get to that point where you're saying no to 50% of the people that want you to build for them, that is the sweet spot. And that is how you get your margins up to the industry benchmarks. And it's how you increase your revenue if you want to do that. If you don't want to increase your revenue, it's fine. You still need double the amount of inquiry, but it gives you the opportunity to increase your margins all the way up to the industry benchmarks and then maintain them. Because at the end of the day, I don't know, that's a bit too much. I need you to knock 50 grand off that price. Well, go and find another builder that can do that. You don't waste your time on those people. It really is the key to success, but obviously it doesn't happen overnight. You've got to build that demand up. So all these strategies need to be in play on an ongoing basis in order to put you in a position where your demand does exceed your supply. So there's a few tips which hopefully, if you do need work fast, you can click them into gear and use them to find some very quick work. It's the 10 by 10 by 10 strategy. There's the partner strategy, and then there's the targeted prospecting strategy as well. But in terms of next step, obviously that's just one component of running a building company and generating more demand. And like I say, there is a full action plan inside our members area, which documents exactly what you need to be doing. Additionally, there's over 50 other action plans in the APB members portal, and it documents everything you need to do. In terms of email marketing, if you've not got a successful or even a email marketing strategy in place, we've got an action plan which documents exactly how you can set this up. Signage as well. That is another way you can bring work in. Signage on your sites, on your vehicles. Signage, these road signs as well, they can be a strategy if they're in a strategic position. However, it's not just a case of getting your name out there. Don't listen to that advice. There are key strategies behind creating signage. So we've got an action plan that covers that for you. Creating a referral strategy as well. We talked about the partner strategy, but there is a whole process around how you build out these partner networks so they refer people to you. We've got an action plan that covers that. And then, of course, there's the qualifying process, because when you start getting all these inquiries in, you don't want to be dealing with the time wasters, the people that are never going to build, the people that can't afford to build the kind of product that you are offering. So you need a documented, systematic qualifying process. And we got that all mapped out for you as well. There's the disqualifying process and the discovery process, along with all the questions you need to ask. And then, of course, there's the sales process as well. You've got to be following a documented sales process. And in residential construction, that can be quite lengthy and quite complex. We've got it all mapped out for you with downloadable templates and scripts as well. And the killer strategy, if you want to get your margins up to serious levels, and you're prepared to embrace the whole idea of generating more demand than you can supply, the killer strategy is what we call construction slots. And that is where you map out your supply for the year and you cap it. and now you generate twice as much demand and you start slotting people in. Now, the benefits of this are twofold, because first of all, you've brought in genuine scarcity and urgency into your sales process. And the other component is you've now balanced out your construction funnel, which means you don't have these surges coming through construction where you've got 5 handovers all at once. You might only do 10 jobs in a year and you've got 5 handing over in the same couple of weeks. You don't want that. You want it balanced. That's what construction slots gives you. And that means all the way through the different stages of construction, whether it's the slab, the frame, the fit out, whatever, you're not doing big lumps or multiple jobs all at the same time. It is balanced. And what that does is it optimizes your profitability in a building company as well. So construction slots, absolute killer strategy. So too much for me to cover what's inside the APB members portal, because it covers advertising, marketing, sales, operations, financials, self-improvement as well. So any aspect of your building company that you're looking to improve, we've got it all mapped out for you step by step. So if you would like to see exactly what you get as being a member of APB, and then you'd like a quick look behind the scenes, we're going to put a link in this post where you can jump on and watch a demo at your own pace and just have a quick look behind the scenes and see if membership of APB is for you. But that is all for today. I don't think we have any questions while we're live. So I'm going to wrap this up, but we will keep an eye in the comments box for any questions you might have. But until next week, you have a fantastic rest of your Friday, or it's Thursday evening in North America, and a fantastic weekend ahead of you. So that's all for today, guys.